Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Melanin Mayhem podcast. If you are here, then you must be a lover of true crime with a melanated twist. This podcast exists to dispel the myth that there are certain types of crimes that Black people just don't commit. Each week, I'll bring you the twisted tale of a prolific criminal that should bust hell wide open for the shit they did out here in these American streets. But though their crimes were sensational, these prolific criminals have been ignored by the mainstream media, and I think we all know why. We, the melanated diaspora, we need to know that when it comes to masterminding audacious, prolific, and downright diabolical crimes, Black people are not new to this. We are true to this. At the Melanin Mayhem podcast, we put them on deck so you can protect your neck. As a public service announcement, I must warn you, this podcast contains adult themes, tales of violence, shenanigans, and mayhem, told in a manner as to entertain and educate by a host that curses like a sailor, is slightly thrown off with just a touch of hood. So if you have sensitive ears or a delicate disposition, consider yourself warned. Now that we have the formalities out of the way, I will pass it to your favorite country girl, Renee Davis, to do what the fuck she does. Aw, shit, Noir Nation. Look at your favorite country girl giving you a little taste of that velveteen soul voice. Ew. I know y'all like it when I switch it up on you. Like Corporate Baby said, honey, welcome to the pod. If this is your first time joining the country girl, baby, just hold on. You ain't seen nothing yet. Thank you for giving my pod a chance to tantalize your ears. I'm gonna do my best to keep you coming back. And to the best group of die-hard day ones, twos, threes, and fours, my motherfucking ride or dies. Noir Nation, what's up, man? I couldn't wait to get to y'all today because y'all are not gonna believe what I dug up this week. I feel like I say that every week, right? But this time, just when I think that we've gotten to the bottom floor of diabolical nigga shit, I managed to find the motherfucking basement dwellers. And woo child, you gonna be cussing this week. Lips just pressed together and all over the place. Now, Noir Nation, the age-old question, am I my brother's keeper? Nino Brown told us the answer to that loud and clear. Yes, I am. This week, we are headed to Toledo, Ohio, and I'm going to tell you the tale of a pair of brothers that became the dynamic duo and is considered to be the most notorious and prolific serial killers in the history of Lucas County, Toledo, Ohio, and the surrounding areas. I'm talking about you. Now, the oldest brother, instead of him being an example of good and showing his baby brother how to live right, he out here showing his baby brother how to be a stone cold killer. This dude had an extreme dislike for the Envelopians and made it his ministry to take out as many as he could. So again, that means not one melanated person was harmed in the making of this story. That's 2 weeks in a row now, Nate. What you trying to do? You never know how I'm gonna get to you on the Melanin Mayhem podcast, baby. But yeah, our Melanin Mayhem maker, he was slick with it, y'all. A killing machine with 9 bodies, 5 attempted bodies, and 7 rapes in the span of 14 months. When you hear about this nigga and his brother and all their shenanigans, all you gonna be able to say is, I hope y'all about to pick up what I'm finna put down. Bring it to the front of the congregation. This week's Melanin Mayhem makers are Mr. Anthony Cook and Mr. Nathaniel Cook, a.k.a. Big Brother Kill YT and Lil Brother Dr. Kill Good. All right, Noir Nation, let's get right on into it. As usual, we don't have a lot of background information on our mayhem makers, but I'm going to give you what I got. Anthony Cook was born March 9th, 1949. And he didn't play the motherfucking radio. He was calculating and he was slick. And he was also a stone cold killer. I don't know shit about his parents. I do know he has 2 sisters and a baby brother named Nathaniel. Nathaniel Cook was born October 25th, 1958. Definitely a follower. Dropped out of school, worked a few different gigs, you know what I'm saying? Moved around from Toledo to Columbus to take care of one of them sisters. Came back to Toledo. Got a job as a maintenance man at a group home. And his supervisor, as usual, got nothing but glowing things to say about Nate. Oh, Nate is such a nice guy with a good personality and a quiet nature. Just a good guy and a good worker. And this nice, quiet, good guy, hard-working ass nigga is teaming up with his big brother to drill, kill, and destroy white people all over the streets of Toledo and Lucas County. You see, Anthony said that he killed white people because of how he was treated when he was in prison by the white guards back in the 70s. You see, Anthony went to prison when he was around 19 years old for armed robbery in 1968. Now, he spent a good 5 years just waiting for a chance to fuck a cracker up. And when he got out of prison, around 1973, all was quiet until December 20th, 1973. Now, mind you, this nigga had just got out of jail. And the first thing he want to do is kill a bitch. Like, who the fuck does that? Do some normal, regular shit. Like, when you get out from doing a bid, all you should want to kill is some coochie and a plate. Instead of being up in the strip club, this nigga up at a murder scene. Make it make sense. Anthony rolls up on Vicky. She and 2 of her girlfriends, they having car trouble, right? Aunt offered to go get her some help or something along those lines, right? Once he got her in his car, he restrains her, he rapes her, and shot her 6 motherfucking times before dumping her body in a park. Shit, Lil Vicky took more lead than Tupac did that first time. Okay, G. Now, I got a couple of thoughts. Never victim shaming because we don't do that over here. But this is more of an observation about the differences between the races. 3 white women stranded in the snow. Now, they say that Vicky got in a car with 2 black men to get help or go get dropped off somewhere. Okay. Same scenario. 3 black women. Either all 3 of us are going or none of us are going. Come on now, y'all know what I'm talking about. Period. Now, if all 3 of us go, we probably all gonna die together, but I'm just saying we gonna all die together. And actually, kind of like last week's Elder Buns killer, this motherfucker only fucked up them white folks. Now, don't get it twisted, though. In addition to the killing, Ant was in them streets getting it how he lived. Now, he stayed strong-arming a bit. 6 months later, after killing Vicky, Ant would go back to prison for robbery and do 6 years. And when he get out, right back to terrorizing white folks. Only this time, he got to get a Robin to his Batman. In comes his brother to the shenanigans. For 16 months, they terrorized Toledo. They kept switching it up too. Different weapons every time. Knives, guns, baseball bats. And they ain't leave no fingerprints. Them niggas wiped up everything they touched. Add to that, no witnesses. So Ant and Nate was out here committing these crimes and had the police fucked up because they didn't have shit to go on. Now the police had a feeling that they knew who was doing the fuck shit. You know what I'm saying? They felt it was racially motivated because it wasn't nothing but the colonizers getting smoked out there in them streets. And the survivors, few it was, they said that it was black men that was fucking them up. But that ain't enough. They didn't have no evidence to prove which black man was fucking their asses up. And as you all know, no evidence, you can't touch these niggas. So first up for the diabolical duo, 18-year-old Sandra Podolsky and 24-year-old Tommy Gordon, they had gone out on a date May 14th, 1980. Tommy had drove back to Sandra's house and they sitting in the car kissing a little bit, ending things on a little sweet note when the brothers rolled up on their ass, bust they wonder out and forced Tommy and Sandra to get in the back seat. They drove Tommy's car to a field somewhere off Rabe Road over there on the west side of Lucas County. When they get out, Tommy tried to run, but Nate shot the shit out his ass and then they turned their attention to Sandra. Poor Sandy. They raped her over and over and over again, and then they stabbed her over and over and over again with a motherfucking ice pick. Woo, child, they stabbed her so much she just started playing dead. Like, please stop, Jesus. And it worked. They left her there. Tommy died, but Sandra must have had a praying grandmother. Cause sister girl lived, honey. She somehow, after all the shit that she had just went through, managed to get the strength to get up and walk. Walk, I said, church. I said she walked. It wasn't that far, but she still walked after getting raped, beat, and stabbed over and over with an ice pick. Ouch. She went and got her some help. They got her to the hospital, and she worked with the police, told them everything she know, but they didn't arrest nobody. Now, 19-year-old Connie Thompson, she was hitchhiking down Cherry Street. They snatched her ass right off the street and threw her in the back of the car, drove over to the west side. They like that west side shit. Nate strangled her after him and Anthony raped her, stabbed her, and beat her up. And then, after they were through, them niggas throwed her ass in like this little concrete culvert. Now, mind you, it's January in Ohio in 81. It's real wintertime. Of course, her body was frozen stiff by the time they found her. Like, sirs, disrespectful all the way around. But then, I'm talking like 10 days later, January 27th, 1981. 18-year-old Cheryl Bartlett, she thought she would surprise her boo thing and pop up on his job at the grocery store where he worked, so when he got off, they could walk home together. That's so cute. I love that for them. Now, her fiance, 22-year-old Bud Coates, now he was happy to see his girl, but when he got off, they started walking home, and they just walking and talking and enjoying each other. You know what I'm saying? Shit you do when you 20, 21, 22, 18, whatever. The Cook brothers run up on them. They pulled their get out and forced them to walk over to this vacant garage. Man, when I tell you they beat them, raped Cheryl. But then, y'all, this the bullshit. When it came time to do the killing part of the show, tell me why these niggas ain't have but one bullet in the gun. They decide they're gonna get creative. They tell them to lay down and embrace each other, hold each other tight, cause this finna be the last time. They put the gun to Cheryl's back and shoot, thinking that the goddamn bullet was gonna go through Cheryl and kill Bud too. Now tell me why these niggas, first of all, why the fuck y'all ain't got but one motherfucking bullet? Excuse me, don't get me wrong. I am not advocating for the shooting innocent people, but just on GP, how the fuck you coming to the killing fields with one bullet? Maybe. Just maybe. If you ain't got enough money to fill the clip, perhaps you shouldn't be shooting nobody. Guns just ain't your ministry. Take a knife. It don't need loading or no extra materials to go with it. You know what I'm saying? You just got the knife and do what you need to do. Because this shit you here trying to pull, it only works in the movies. And please understand, in real life, it did not work out for Aunt and Nate. Cheryl and Bud ass is both still very much alive. Cheryl, now mind you, shot in the back, is able to get up and run with Bud to a nearby house to get help. Did you hear me, church? I said she got up and ran. She got a bullet in her bag. That shit must have been a 22 because ma'am was up and walking and talking and shit with a whole bullet in her back. Again, not advocating for gunplay, but if you shooting at somebody, a 22 ain't what you need to be doing because it ain't gonna do what you think it's gonna do. Them motherfuckers is tricky. Don't fuck around and find out messing with them little cap guns. Now, they get Cheryl to the hospital, and she gives a crystal clear description of the men that attacked her and turned her world upside down. But the cops didn't arrest nobody. Now, this one is a hard one. This is a tragic story of 12-year-old Dawn Backus. On February 21st, 1981, Anthony caught her walking down the street from a pizza restaurant not too far from the University of Toledo. He get out his truck, and he grabbed Dawn by her neck and throw her in his truck. Then this audacious motherfucker stop and pick up Nathaniel, and they go over to this abandoned theater. It's called the State Theater, Ohio. Y'all know what I'm talking about? It's over supposedly in the old West End over off of Collinwood Boulevard. Well, baby, they get her inside that abandoned theater, and when they get her in there, they take her to the basement, and then they start brutally attacking and torturing 12-year-old Dawn. I'm talking about you stinking nasty motherfuckers. They raped her and that punk ass Nate. He say he picked up a cinder block and dropped it on her head. You funky, ooh, stinking motherfucker. Now the police, they looking for Dawn. Her peoples is all in an uproar. Then on February 25th, somebody made an anonymous call and told them that they needed to go and look in the basement of the theater. Oh, Lord, that's hard. 12 years old. I mean, all of this is hard, but 12, audacious, just diabolical, and I hope you bust hell wide motherfucking open. But oh, wait, I ain't done with y'all yet. Wait, honey. March 27th, 1981. 22-year-old Denise Satowski and 21-year-old Scott Moulton, they are just sitting in the car enjoying each other's company. They sitting in the parking lot of the Fountain Circle Apartments, just killing time because they're supposed to go out in a little while with some of their coworkers, get some drinks. You know what I'm saying? Anthony runs up on them sitting in the car. He overpowers Scott. He make both of them get out the car and then put them in the trunk. He drive off in Scott's car. Pull over, pop the trunk, pull Denise out, leave Scott in there while he raping Denise. He get through raping Denise, make her walk back to the car, get in the trunk again, and then this motherfucker proceeds to shoot them execution style. He shot Scott 4 times, he shot Denise 5 times. That is overkill like a motherfucker. Like, goddamn, Aunt. Now, the nigga take a little breather now, about 4 months, because I mean, shit, can you just take a moment and reflect on what the fuck you out here in these streets doing? Shit. But baby, 4 months and some change, time to crank that shit right back up. August 2nd, 1981, 21-year-olds Stacy Balonic and Daryl Cole, they were just coming home from a little vacation in Daytona Beach. Now, they were just chilling in the car. Literally, they were just getting back into town. Pull up down the street from Stacy's house. And, you sitting in the car talking about we was on the beach and, thinking about what you just went through with your boo. Anthony rolls up on them, pull his pistol out, and once again make them get in the trunk. Daryl got a Grand Prix. Big trunk, but I'm just saying. He drives over to the railroad tracks over under the Central Avenue overpass, pulls Stace out the car, rape her, beat her up a little bit. When he is done, he make her get back over there where Daryl at, and then he take a baseball bat, y'all, and beat the brakes off of their ass. And I told y'all this motherfucker wasn't no joke. I'm low-key happy he wasn't doing this to black folk. Now, this next tale, y'all, is tragic. And not just because another white couple got frizzled, but because the police played all up in these folks' face at the same damn time. Leslie Sawicki and Todd Sabo get attacked on September 18th, 1981, while they are sitting in a van that looks just like the Mystery Machine. Soon as I saw it, I was like, Scooby-Doo! Anyway, they sitting in the van, drinking on a little something. Might have even been smoking on a little something. It's the nighttime. It's the right time. Getting in that kind of mood or whatnot. Next thing you know, Anthony come and disturb all the groove, right? Snatch the door open, put his pistol all up in their face. Now, he yoke up Todd. He made Leslie tie Todd up. Then he grabbed Leslie, take her pants off, and start telling her all the nasty, filthy shit he about to do to her. Now, understand, Todd got to have a little black in his family tree, because he didn't just stay there all quiet and docile, waiting to get mollywopped. Oh, no. Todd managed to get out the restraints and square up on Ant, and the next thing you know, him and Todd going at it. Todd fighting for his life. Fighting. Now, let Todd tell it. He managed to get the gun away from Ant. All right, it ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. He tell Leslie, hey, baby, I got this nigga. You go get help. Now, mind you, Noir Nation, they were right down the street from the police department. I'm talking 300 yards away from the motherfucking po-po shop. But instead of running to the police department, Leslie run into somebody's apartment. Okay, girl, I see self-preservation kicked all the way in. Leslie beating on doors and yelling for help. And now when she get in somebody's apartment, her first call is not to 911 to come help Todd, who's still back there with Anthony. Instead, Leslie called her daddy and told him that a big black man was trying to take her goodies and he still had Todd over there. Daddy was like, say less, grabbed his shit, told his wife to call TPD. Tulsa Police Department. He jumped in the car barefoot in his pajamas. Now, after she hung up with her daddy, Leslie calls the Ottawa Hills Police Department, which is the actual location where they are. I guess she knew the number to the police department. I mean, they lived in Ottawa Hills, so the big stretch. Remember, I told you the police station is right there. The dispatcher, Paul Wortman, answers the call. Leslie tells him a black man is trying to rape her and her boyfriend started fighting with him and she got away, but he got a gun and they need help immediately because the big black man was probably going to kill her man because there's a gun involved. Noir Nation. Paul was like, okay. And Leslie hung up. Paul, for whatever reason, decided instead of dispatching an Ottawa Hills police officer, he calls TPD and tells them, hey, it's a rape in progress. Suspect is a black man in a van. That's all I got. She hung up. And then Paul hangs the fuck up. Apparently, all Paul had was thoughts and prayers for Big Leslie and her peoples. What he didn't have was an urge to protect and serve and to go see what the fuck was going on right outside. Ain't that some shit? That motherfucker was walking distance from an active, aggravated crime against two people, two white people at that. And that motherfucker was as unbothered as Omarion. That's some old nasty word right there, honey. But wait, it gets worse. At the same time, while all of this is going on, one of the neighbors at the apartment complex where Leslie running around screaming and crying and calling out for help, they called TPD for some help too. So again, I'm not victim shaming, but culturally, they not like us. No sir. While I'm running and screaming in somebody's apartment, can I get a weapon, please? You got a frying pan or a knife or something I can carry back out here? Because we might have to take care of some business. You know what I'm saying? Leslie been running around long enough to make a pot of grits by now. Shit. And I don't know where Leslie's daddy was coming from, but please understand he beat the police to the scene like he was there in 2.2 seconds. He understood the assignment. My baby is in danger and I'm finna fix it, Jesus. He jumps out of his car with that peace be still. He see that Todd got Anthony subdued in the van, so they make him get out the van. By this time, Leslie done came back. Todd got Ant gun. Leslie daddy got his own gun. Now this is where it gets a little tricky. Now remember, this is all what Todd say went down. While Ant was subdued, somebody apparently wanted to get some street justice, and I ain't mad at that. A motherfucker just tried me and now the tables have turned in my favor. I'm just saying, I might find a way for their face to kiss my shoe a couple of times, you know what I'm saying? You know, shit happens. It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. I told y'all. Elder buns. I'm sorry. Every time I see the word rabbit or bunny, the very next thought is elder bun. This goddamn pod. Anyway, and if you don't know what elder bun is, go back a couple of episodes. Anyway, so Todd and Leslie's daddy are having some up close and personal time with Ant right about now. But then Todd go and do the whitest shit possible. He throw Ant gun down for some fucking reason. I guess he thought that since Peter, that's Leslie's daddy, Peter got a gun, I don't need a gun. Or maybe he needed both hands and both feet to talk to Ant a little bit more. Either way, you know you done fucked up, right? Because Ant got that motherfucking gun, and this time, Anthony got more than one bullet. And the gunfight is on. He shoot Todd 2 times. One in the neck, one in the shoulder. Then it was Peter's turn. Peter Sawicki, Leslie's daddy, who done came to set some shit straight, ends up dead on the pavement, shot in the throat. Ant done left that man speechless. Leslie, at this point, turns tail and run back to the apartments. Ant like I ain't through with your ass. He shot it up, but he missed. Leslie make it back into the apartment. She calls the Ottawa Hill Police Department again. She tells them the aggravated assault is now a beatdown, shootout, and a murder. And the nigga that did the beating, the shooting, and the murdering is getting away in a car and driving the fuck off. Ottawa Hills was like, thank you for the update, but you're not in our jurisdiction, but we will pass that along to TPD. Leslie was like, what? Let me tell you something. Ottawa Hills Police Department, you lazy motherfuckers, put them goddamn donuts down and get out there and render some aid to the people that's fucked up outside on the pavement. I know y'all hear all them goddamn gunshots. It's going down right outside. You can see it from the window. Just stand up and look. Y'all, they didn't even need to waste gas. They could have walked to the crime scene. Them motherfuckers could have rolled down the hill and been there faster than TPD, who still ain't made it on the scene yet. Leslie dropped the phone. She go to the window. Whoever apartment she was in, they pick up the phone and they try to reason with the motherfucking police. Can y'all just please come outside and help these people? Them people done already told you they ain't got no time for whatever you going through today. Paul says, just hold on for a minute. He get on the 3-way with TPD and he like, hey man, shit going down. They say it's getting bad out there. How long before y'all gonna pull up? TPD was like, shit, if you so concerned, take your ass outside and do some police shit. And Paul was like, duly noted, and hung the fuck up. He go back to old girl and was like, hey, someone should be with you shortly. And then Paul puts the punk ass hangs the fuck up. Leslie then walks her ass back outside to Todd and her daddy. And shortly after that, here comes Toledo Police Department. An ass whipping late and 3 gunshots short. I mean, it was like 7 minutes from the time Paul made the call to when they pulled up on the scene, but a lot went down in them 7 minutes. Thankfully, though he was beat down and shot up, Todd lived. But Ant was in the wind though, ghost like a motherfucker. Side note, before we move on, just to let you know a little something. Leslie and her people sued the shit out of Ottawa Hills Police Department and they won. And then Ottawa Hills Police Department appealed the decision and got the decision reversed. Womp womp. Now, just like Cheryl and Bud, we got Leslie and Todd giving descriptions of the man that fucked up the church's money. Talk about pressure. Ooh, honey, them white folks of Toledo wanted somebody's head on a platter. Cause a nigga can't just be going around her dead in the Caucasoids like that. They don't like to be scared. So now Toledo Pete gotta make some shit happen or else everybody gonna be looking for a job. So you know they pulling out all the stops. They out here flooding the streets with bribe money. Cause somebody knows something. And you know the dollar bill make that motherfucking tea spill. Now, Ant was in the wind for a couple of weeks, but the streets was streeting, and somebody seen or heard something, and they dropped a dime on Anthony's ass to Detective Frank Stiles. Oh, yes. And when it was all said and done, them two people, they ended up splitting $7,073 for snitching. Is it snitching if you get paid? I don't think so. I mean, snitching is what you doing when you telling the business on some shit that you was in on to try to lighten your own load. I think what we have here is more like consulting. They were consulting with the police department, and consultants get paid. Snitches get stitches. These people were consultants. Now, Detective Style was familiar with Anthony's name, and he begins to dig around and makes it his personal ministry to arrest Ant's ass. Now, along with the description from Leslie and Todd, the streets, they also got fingerprints. Oh, yes, honey. Guess he didn't have an opportunity to wipe everything down after everything went left. So they arrested Anthony on October 14th, 1981. And when it's all said and done, they charged Anthony with aggravated murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, a dash of aggravated robbery, and attempted rape to put the period on the end of the sentence. Yes, indeed, honey. Now it's time to crank up the jury. Anthony Funky ass went to trial on March 2nd, 1982. He was 32 years old and finally about to face the music for killing Peter Sawicki. Now peep this, when Anthony killed Peter Sawicki in 1981, his timing was kind of on point because in 1981, Ohio didn't have the death penalty or the option for life without parole. Yes, so no matter what you did, there was a chance that you could pee in a toilet and wash your hands somewhere else. Yes. Now let me run Peter Sawicki down for you right quick. Rich, white, owned a lot of shit in Ottawa Hills where the shit had went down. So you understand what's really about to happen, right? The prosecution called 18 witnesses. The cops that was on the scene, the medical examiner, Todd and Leslie, they all said that Ant did that shit and described for the jury how it went down and all of that. Anthony's defense was that he was acting in self-defense because they was whipping his ass. Even though, yeah, the reason that they was whipping my ass is because I had just tried to end Leslie and Todd. But why you bringing up all shit? Anthony's lawyer said that Peter Sawicki pulled up ready and it was on site. Anthony was just defending himself. Well, the jury deliberated for 12 hours, and when they came out on Saturday, March 14th, they found him guilty. But not of aggravated murder, just regular murder. But okay, either way, the nigga got a chance for parole. And on March 18th, Judge Reno Riley Jr. sentenced Anthony Cook to 15 to life with the possibility of parole. Ant didn't so much as blink. But it's here that I find out for the first time, Ant, big brother Kill White T, got a motherfucking wife. Yeah. Now her ass has managed to stay hid like a motherfucker. Cause when I tell you I ain't seen shit about a wife, I can't find hide nor hair of this woman. But there was a news report that said that while Ant didn't flinch when he got his sentence, as he walked out of the court, he winked at his wife and 2 sisters. We know about the sisters. Who this woman? A smart one, cause you can't find her name linked to Anthony nowhere. Now, even though Anthony is shipped off for life, authorities still think that Nate was right there with Anthony, and they ain't letting that shit just go like that. So they just wait and they watching. They stand back and stand by. And they did that shit for a long ass time. Cause Nathaniel, after his brother got yoked up, this nigga stops all shenanigans immediately. Not immediately, immediately. Or so they say. The killing stopped. Nathaniel now, he a black man in Ohio. He still had interactions with the police, traffic violations and other minor bullshit, but nothing of the rapey or murdery variety. And for the next 15 years, Nate is low profile. He got arrested a couple of times, and during one of those arrests, they took his DNA. But other than that, Nate was what we would call stable. No evictions or nothing like that. He never got fired from his job. But the police still think that Nate was right there with his brother when the killing was going on, but they still ain't got no proof. But oh, baby, one thing about technology, it's ever evolving. And what wasn't available in the 70s and 80s is emerging as time passes. And around 1997, DNA was the new buzzword. Shit, that was a game changer. And for the prosecutor and the law in Toledo, they hadn't forgot about Nate's good killing ass, and they understood that DNA testing could nail Nate's ass to the motherfucking wall. In 1997, law enforcement pulled them good DNA samples from Anthony and Nathaniel and sent them off to the lab. Now, it took a little minute, but when the results came back, honey, it showed that they were the ones that had raped Sandra. Now, once they had that proof that Nate was indeed a criminal, please believe they yoked that ass up expeditiously. Honey, Nathaniel was arrested February 13, 1998 and charged with the murder of Tommy Gordon. We got your ass now, nigga. And they did. Until, in my opinion, they got flim-flam by a smooth-talking, shyster-ass, killing-ass, raping-ass, snake-ass nigga named Anthony Cook. Now check this shit out. Right before they were supposed to go on trial for killing and raping Tommy and Sandra, Ant say he want to holler at the prosecutor. He got an offer he want to make. So the prosecutor, a lady named Julia Bates, was like, all right, we can chop it up. Let me see if you got anything I want to hear. They meet up. Now, mind you, when I say right before the trial, this is like 2-3 days. So when they meet up, Anthony says, I tell you what, it's a whole lot of unsolved murders and shit in Lucas County. We'll tell you about all the bodies we got on us, and we'll even take a polygraph in exchange for immunity for the shit I'm finna tell you we did. And I tell you what, I'm gonna keep my life sentence, but I'll let y'all put without parole on it. But y'all gonna let Nate out in 20 years. Say what? Say who? Nate would be paroled after doing 20 summers. Ant dangled a hell of a carrot in their face. Ant was offering them closure, and closure is a hell of a thing. Everybody wants it, right? Instead of keeping me and my brother locked up forever, cause I'm already down for the count. And once Nate go in the courtroom in a couple of days, he gonna get that long ride too. Instead of giving you what you want, how about we tell you the dirty deeds for free, and I'll stay in and let you put that no parole on my paperwork, but you gonna let my brother breathe free air again. And they fell for the okie doke. In my opinion, first and foremost, when your op come at you trying to broker a deal or want to tell you something right quick, fuck that shit. They trying to get you. Don't get got. The prosecutor took the bait and agreed to the deal. So while they worked out all the details, the Cook brothers got ready for the confession sessions. Y'all, Anthony's killing ass was so nonchalant in how he described how they fucked up these white folks like he had no emotion. He bragged on how good he was at stalking them folks. He was boasting about his ability to kill at will. This nigga laughed, talking about how his victims looked once they realized what the fuck was about to go down. He said he would just roll through the streets, circling his victims, circling them around them till just the right time. Now, Nate was a little less motherfuckerly. He wasn't trying to brag. He, like I said, he's a follower. He was doing what his brother wanted him to do. You could just tell his elevator, I don't think, go all the way up to the top floor. But he says that he tried not to even think about the shit that him and his brother did. Like, nigga, what? You what?
I went to the car and might have used the way like for an address to get a window accessibility. If you give a person an address in the immediate area or street that's real close, talk to her first, keep her calm. Down like I don't know exactly. Somebody took her back down. and to get away from the main street in order to do a horseback tour. And her hands to God and blindfold her. We just walking in the street and stop after where she going or something. Like we didn't have to force her into the truck. I knew that. Okay. So like I don't know if she was hitchhiking or she was just walking and like where you going in all the snow. All right. Like I snow. She just kept walking straight down back road and then she turned to the right. So long street. Side street. Right. Okay. When she turned the side street, I took the next street and speeded up and parked, and then she had a street parallel with her, speeding up faster. Right. Okay. To the corner.
Baby, wasn't that some bullshit? Now that was horrible. Just listening to that, he just so deadpan, monotone, just no emotion about telling about how you just killed all these people. But even though he didn't care what happened to him and he didn't have no incentive to talk for himself because, he was already doing life, even though it was with the possibility of parole, what's the chances they're going to give him parole? So again, he has no incentive to talk, but he loved his baby brother. And he did not want Nate to be state property for the rest of his life. So if you want to know the who, what, when, and where, you're going to have to let my brother out. The prosecutor, Julia Bates, she made the deal and Judge Charles Wittenberg signed off on it. Now, I'm going to say this, y'all, and I don't mean no harm. I certainly don't want to offend, but I gotta say it. I mean, we talk that real shit over here, right? Don't we, Noir Nation? I mean, y'all my peoples, right? And we talking a little bit, right? You know what I'm saying? So I gotta say, the concept of closure and having to know is overrated. I mean, if you can get closure and knowledge of what had happened when without letting a killing, raping menace to society walk the free streets again, I'm all for it. But if the only way for a singular person or a singular individual to get closure is to put the masses in harm's way, then excuse my French, but fuck your closure. Disrespectfully. Think about it. Right now, today, somebody listening to this podcast just found out that they've been living in Toledo and didn't know that it was a bona fide, certified, convicted, and released motherfucker named Nathaniel Cook that could be their motherfucking neighbor or go to their church or is standing right next to them in line at the DMV. 'Cause newsflash, he could be. And it's all because, let's call it, 40 people needed closure. So the other 425,484 citizens of Lucas County, Ohio, sorry if you or one of your peoples fuck around and find out that Nate is a killer. To do a deal like that, the prosecution should have to have a special public session and all the citizens of the county should get a vote as to yes or no about letting a dangerous motherfucking criminal get out on the street. I mean, who the fuck makes a deal with a criminal? Who the fuck makes a deal with a killer that lets them out of jail? Like, oh Lord, my blood pressure, honey, fucking around with this podcast. Well, after all the paperwork is prepared and the confessions and the poly are out the way, now all that's left was to go before the judge and make this shit official. On April 6, 2000, they go to court and all the victims' families are there. They present the spawns of Satan, the paperwork that states that in exchange for Nate pleading guilty to aggravated murder, 2 counts of kidnapping, and having given a full confession for his crimes in Lucas County and passed the polygraph, Nate can skate in 20, which ends February 13th, 2018. And this part is very important. The Lucas County prosecutor agreed not to oppose Nathaniel's motion for judicial release when his 20 years were up. And Anthony's part in the deal was that he would add another life sentence to his life bid he already had, but the second one would be without parole. Ooh, child. That's the deal of the motherfucking century. I thought in the United States we didn't negotiate with terrorists. Anthony and Nathaniel, they some domestic terrorists. They had Toledo shook like a motherfucker, and y'all gonna let them out? Like, again, I hate to sound cold or uncaring, but it wasn't like these niggas was about to tell the locations of the bodies or something like that. The victims were dead and buried. Y'all just wanted to know if Ant and Nate killed them and why. Knowing that information did not make the victims any less dead, and knowing that information did not make the pain go away. Knowing that information just put a shitload of people in danger. Now, Anthony copped to 9 killations, Nathaniel copped to 3 killations. The families started giving their victim impact statements, and they were heart-wrenching. Oh my God, please understand that while the family was going through the fire, getting that shit off their chest, Aunt and Nate was ignoring the fuck out their asses. Like Casper for real. Them niggas acted like them people wasn't even in the courtroom. They was smiling and giggling and whispering to each other and shit. Like you can't make a sociopath have remorse. Them niggas didn't give two shits. Fuck you and your victim impact statement. That's basically what they said without saying it. So off to prison Nate goes, and for the next 19 years, the Closure for 40 group, they were happy as hell that Nate punk ass was locked away forever and ever and ever and ever. But oh baby, somewhere around 19 years and some change, them motherfuckers realized that old Nate was about to hit them motherfucking streets, and then the outrage started. Oh my God, what? How can this be? We never thought he would get paroled. Houseway, y'all made the motherfucking deal that we didn't know shit about in the first place. Now that the news is getting out, the rest of Lucas County is madder than a motherfucker. As they should be. Cause what in the entire fuck is this? But you can be mad. You can write your congressman. You can protest outside the courtroom. You can ask to speak to the manager. But what nobody can do is stop Nate from crip walking out that prison a free motherfucking man. At his release hearing, baby, the judge was hot. I'm talking about 38. You could have fried fish in that motherfucker. Like she would have rather cut out her own tongue than to tell Nathaniel he was free to go. And she let that ass know exactly how she felt about the whole situation. And Nate didn't give two shits about what she had to say. That nigga two-stepped right on up out that bitch, free as a motherfucker, August 18th, 2018. Now, he had a couple of conditions. When he was released, he had to go do the halfway house for about 6 months. And he had to wear an ankle monitor for 1 year, 12 months. Now, Nate also got to participate in rehab for Chester child molesters, and he can't go nowhere where children gonna be. He's a registered sex offender, but the nigga is free and walking around. He lives 200 meters from a goddamn school, just outside of the zone where he can't be. Just imagine going about your day and you run into the nigga that tried to unalive you at the Walmart. Like, that's some real shit for the victims that lived there and still live in Toledo. Cause Nathaniel ass been free going on like 6-7 years. I seen the nigga house. He's standing on the porch giving interviews to the news reporters and shit. Baby, let me tell you something. I would have had to leave the whole state and move somewhere far, far, far away. I'm talking like Hawaii or Puerto Rico, St. Thomas, somewhere where I could still have my American shit, but we would need a big ass body of water between us. Cause see, I don't say that because I would be afraid of the nigga. Nah, it would be because the rage and the desire for revenge would be too much. Trying to unalive me gives me the right to be able to fuck you up on sight. And without a big body of water from stopping me from jumping in my car and getting on the road and driving back to Ohio, I would most definitely be on my Old Testament type of time. Y'all pray for me. Anthony, on the other hand, he had a couple of parole hearings. The first one was February 23rd, 2015. It was denied, and they told him, look, don't talk to us, don't say shit to us for like another 10 years. Okay, shit, damn. The nigga was supposed to have a parole hearing on December 5th, 2024. That was just last week. But baby, they must have had audacity on sale at the prison commissary, cause this nigga decided he wasn't gonna go to the hearing. Fuck you say? What? This nigga said that he wasn't going. And do y'all know that they rescheduled that shit for March 25th, 2025? How the fuck he got the nerve to refuse to come to the hearing? And why the fuck did they reschedule it? I mean, if your bad ass don't want to come to the party, one monkey don't stop no show. They should have had that hearing anyway without him in absentia and moved the fuck on. I'm just saying, if it wasn't important to him to show the fuck up, he wasn't sick, he wasn't dying, nothing like that. You were just being a straight up asshole. So you know what? Double fuck you and 2 times on Sunday. Parole denied. I think the mother of the 12-year-old girl that was killed summed it up best. She said, quote, "He is right where he belongs, in jail. Hell would have been better, but I settle for jail." I know that's right, mama. And check this out. Oh, girl, the 12-year-old's mama, she had a landline put in her house just so she would always be able to get the call that one or both of them niggas was dead. Ooh, that's gangster. She was like, "I ain't taking no chance that my battery be dead on my cell phone and I miss that goddamn call." Now that's real hate right there to pay for a house phone. Them shits is expensive. Like you gotta find a company that will even provide you with a house phone. AT&T won't like $55 plus tax a month. You gotta really have a motherfucker to dedicate damn near a G a year to pay for a phone for the just in case that one phone call that you really want might come through. Come on now. Anthony Cook is prisoner A167-235 at the Chillicothe Correctional Institute. And Nathaniel Cook is a free man living life like it's golden in Toledo, Ohio. Noir Nation, think about this. The deal that the prosecutor gave them was very specific. Too specific, if you ask me. It was based on Anthony and Nathaniel copping to the rapes and the murders in Lucas County. That's just Toledo. Knowing what we know about these prolific criminals, you think they limited to themselves just to Toledo? Anthony was an over-the-road truck driver when he wasn't in prison. I'd bet your next paycheck that it's some more bodies out there somewhere. And it ain't just my gut that's saying that. It's something that the defense attorney asked after the documents were signed, sealed, and delivered. He asked the prosecutor specifically, did they have to cop the crimes outside of Lucas County? Why would he ask them that? I say it's because he wanted to say without saying that the prosecution had fucked up by putting it in writing that the prosecution closed the door on one, finding out if there were murders where else in Ohio or the U.S. for that matter. Two, they couldn't revoke the deal if it ever came out that the Cook brothers murdered some more white folks somewhere else that they didn't confess to for this particular deal. I ain't even a lawyer, and I know that. Yeah, 20 years is a long time, but, and some of y'all might feel me on this, it flies by. I mean, when you back up to 25 years old, 20 years is forever. But somewhere around 30-ish, you realize that shit ain't that far. And you see, the prosecutor and them, they agreed to the deal because they just knew at some point during these 20 years, somebody was going to find some kind of shit on Nate that was going to keep him in jail. And I ain't going to even hold you. That's not far-fetched. I mean, the nigga is a killer. I'd bet that he had some more bodies out there too. But finding dirt from the past ain't as simple as thinking something out there and somebody gonna find it. Remember last week I told y'all all them cold cases don't automatically get their evidence tested. It has to be chosen to be tested. And again, I'd bet your next paycheck that if they were to test everything that's out there, there would be matches to these two motherfuckers in other places. But we'll never know that, will we? A few episodes back, I told y'all about a trucker that was killing them state to state. The diabolical duo do some trucking. Anthony spent time driving through Ohio, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and Texas. I wonder how many people they did kill in other states. Killers don't limit themselves. And when Anthony was doing all that singing, he did tell them that when he was truck driving, that he often picked up hitchhikers. When the urge comes, they do what the fuck they do. So how many bodies you think Ant got? And while you thinking on that, let me hit you with one more little twist. Toledo had 9 unsolved murders. Ant and them confessed to 8 of them. That last unsolved murder was of 19-year-old Michelle Hoffman. She was killed September 1981. She was beat, she was raped, and she was overkilled. Just like the other ones, right? But Anthony wouldn't cop to that one. Y'all want to know why I think he didn't cop to it? You see, Michelle was the niece of a Lucas County investigator for the prosecutor's office. I don't think Anthony wanted to go inside with the rep of having killed the family of law enforcement. He had already said that the reason he was killing white folks in the first place was because of how them prison guards had treated him. Imagine how he would have been treated if he had to confess to Michelle's murder. Even though he didn't confess to it, I think we can all say we know who the fuck killed Michelle. And them niggas is responsible for every last one of the unsolved murders in Toledo at the time. And what about this? According to the plea, Nate didn't get involved until the murder started in the 80s, right? That was the story that Anthony had said. He said he did the first one by himself. Okay, so if that's the truth, who was the second dude that was with Anthony when he picked up Vicky Lynn Smalls out the snow? Remember, her 2 girlfriends let her go off with 2 black men. And that's all I have to say about that. I got all Nathaniel's business and we'll be posting it shortly. One thing about Ohio, baby, they put all the business on Front Street. I got everything but this nigga blood type. I bet if I called and asked them in my corporate Barbie voice, somebody would give me that too. I think this week what I'm fucked up over the most is the thought of how many of these kind of deals are being made across the U.S. with criminals getting the chance to get out to give somebody closure. Like, I understand you gotta give to get. An even swap ain't no swindle, but making a deal to let a violent offender back into society is morally reprehensible to me. Like, trade that criminal some commissary. Get that nigga honey buns for life. Shit, 10 racks of noodles a month. An hour in the gym every other Thursday by yourself. Let them pick out their prison job. Put $20 on their phone every month. Shit, you can get creative as you want, but don't let that motherfucker out. In what world does that even sound good on paper? Shit, it's enough killers that ain't been caught yet out here doing shit. I mean, look at the white man that just shot the CEO at United Healthcare. Y'all ain't caught his ass yet. Why you want to add some known killers to the mix? We got enough shit going on without opening the doors to the prison, giving killers permission to kill again with our blessing this time. Ain't that some shit? And you know what else is the shit? Melanin Mayhem. Facts. And you can let everybody know by hitting the like, follow, and or subscribe button, baby, right there on your screen. Let your fingers do the talking, baby. Go ahead and leave a comment and tell me what you think. Speaking of comments, baby, y'all be having me laughing at the commentary that y'all be leaving on these boards. I swear we be talking to each other because I really do answer you back like you sitting right here with me. I think I'm gonna start doing like a shout out to my commenters each week just so that you know I'm picking up what y'all putting down. And this week, Mr. C, thank you for binging all my episodes. Y'all, he would comment after everyone he listened to. I have my notifications on, so when you leave me something, I see it when it's published. And it was like, ding, Mr. C said this. About an hour or so later, ding, Mr. C said that. He said he is down for the twang, the sang, and the murdering that's happening all up in this piece. Me too, Mr. C. Thank you for being down with the nation. Now, if you out here in these social spaces, on X, I'm Melanin Mayhem PC. On YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, it's Melanin Mayhem Podcast. If you haven't done so already, check out the Melanin Mayhem discussion group on Facebook. It's private, so you ain't got to worry about the lurkers who'll be trying to see what your little comments be saying. And if you know of a melanated mayhem maker that you'd like for me to do an episode on, you can drop me a line over at melaninmayhempodcast@gmail.com. Thank y'all so much for spending just a little bit of your day with your favorite country girl. Until next week, stay safe, stay vigilant, and remember, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready, especially if you in Toledo and Lucas County, Ohio. I'm just saying. It's one love, Noir Nation, and your favorite country girl is out this thing. Wow.